Welcome back. For the fourth consecutive game, a banner flew over the stadium in the Hurricanes' eventual bad loss to Cincinnati that read, "Fire Al Golden." Head coach remains on the hot seat and has now vowed to make changes to the lineup going forward. He better turn it around quickly because Miami travels to Florida State next Saturday. This week, the Noles were visiting Wake Forest for their first ACC game, and they were ready from the start. First play of the game, get this, sophomore Dalvin Cook breaks 2 tackles, and he's off to the races. Takes this one 94 yards to the house. Seminoles jump out to an early 7-0 lead. Though Cook would actually have to leave the game later in the quarter with a hamstring injury that could be big for next week. But the Seminoles were just fine without him in this game. Third quarter, FSU quarterback Everett Golson connects with Kermit Whitfield for the touchdown. And that would be enough. Florida State remains unbeaten at 4-0, takes this one 24-16. The biggest game in the state today was at the Swamp. The Gators finally back in the top 25, hosting the third-ranked team in the country, Mississippi. And Florida came to play today. They were already up 13-0. Quarterback Will Greer hits Brandon Powell, who runs the ball for a long time. 77 yards on the pitch and catch, makes it 19-0. And the Swamp was going nuts. Still in the second, Will Greer back to pass again. This time, he hits Antonio Callaway for another touchdown. The Gators upset Ole Miss, 38-10.
Team will fall to 1-3 on the season.
The inability to have a balanced offense and then the inability on defense to stop the run have doomed the Dolphins so far this year.
Man, oh man, was that a rough early wake-up call this morning. Hello, welcome to Sports Final. I'm Stefano Fusaro. Adam Cooperstein is off tonight, so Dolphins fans, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. It was another shameful performance by a team that expected big things coming into the season. The Dolphins losing a divisional game against the hated Jets, and changes could be coming. We'll talk about what changes we can expect with Dolphins insider James Walker of ESPN. Is Joe Philbin as good as gone, or does he still have life with the Fins? All right, we know it's been a rough Sunday, Dolphins fans, but to shed some light on the situation, we got a Dolphins insider, James Walker from ESPN.com. The coaching staff, they've been on the hot seat for a while now. This is another bad loss, so what happens now?
I know, Stefano, a lot of people want Joe Philbin's head. A lot of fans are calling for his firing already, but I don't anticipate that to happen right now. Now, Philbin's days can very well be numbered, considering Stephen Ross's history of loyalty, fierce loyalty to Joe Philbin. I just don't see that happening at this moment. And also, if you look at the coaching staff, who's there to really be the interim coach? You can't have defensive coordinator Kevin Coyle as the interim coach. We'll talk about him in a second. You can't have Bill Lazor, who has no head coaching experience. So they might as well stick it out as long as they can to see if Joe Philbin can right the ship. I think Ross is going to stick with Philbin, but I think if anyone goes, it's going to be defensive coordinator Kevin Coyle. They have a lot to think about, a long flight from London, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Coyle gets the axe before they play their next game in 2 weeks.
Now, do you think that that's the right move? Do you think that's the right move going forward for this team? Is that the best situation for them?
I think it's the lesser of two evils. Now, will Joe Philbin turn things around? I don't anticipate it happening. I know one statistic I saw had a 13% chance in terms of teams since 1990 that have made the playoffs after a 1-3 start. So it looks very unlikely in a must-win year for Joe Philbin that he can right the ship at least for another game, maybe 2, to see how things turn out. I think he's going to stick with his head coach.
Either way, I mean, defensively, we know that this team has issues, and someone is expected to take some kind of a fall. And if it is Kevin Coyle, the stats don't lie. Today, another game, 420-plus yards allowed and 207 yards rushing. I mean, this is a disturbing trend for the defense.
Yeah, and people look at the run defense last year, and they were upset the fact that they were 24th against the run, giving up 121 yards per game. So now they're giving up 160.5 yards per game. They have a better front seven than they had last year, and the fact that things are getting worse, I think that really speaks to the internal issues that they're having with the Dolphins. Right now, there's a disconnect between the coaches and the scheme, along with the players. Joe Philbin confirmed that they had a meeting with the coaches and players last week to kind of try to iron things out, and they went out and gave up 207 rushing yards, which is a season high. So things aren't getting fixed. I think they have to make a change, if anything, just to boost the morale of that front seven, of that defense, in order for them to stop the run. Because if they don't stop the run this year, I mean, they're toast. I mean, that's really what their team was built on, and they haven't done it up to this point.
Going forward on offense, the offensive line is a huge issue, and it's not getting any better.
Yeah, and you know, they came in averaging 14.7 points per game, and they fell right on that average. And I just don't know how many games that they can win this year scoring that amount of points. And they don't run block very well. They aren't pass protecting very well. They aren't picking up blitzes. That's one thing. Tannehill's getting hit a lot. He's been sacked 5 times in the last 2 games, and also has been hit, you know, multiple times, even just when he's gotten rid of the football. So there's so many issues with this offense that I just don't know if they can fix everything. And on top of that, offensive coordinator Bill Lazor and Joe Philbin have given up on the run so fast. Without balance, they really don't have, you know, anything that they can really build on. They don't have an identity, and I think that's a huge issue for the Dolphins.
I think one of the moments that kind of frustrated fans was late in the 4th quarter when they actually had a chance to make this a game today against the Jets. There was 7 plays inside the 15-yard line and 7 passes.
Yep.
Lamar Miller he didn't even get a touch inside that. We also had some disturbing stats that you wanted to share.
Oh yeah, I actually brought some here just to emphasize how bad things are going for the Dolphins right now. 37-3. That's the amount of points that they've been outscored in the first quarter. They're not even giving themselves a chance. And I think that really goes to the coaching staff and the lack of preparation. Also, 91-48. In the past 3 games, that's how much they've been outscored. You look at the teams they played and the 3 quarterbacks they played, Blake Bortles, Tyrod Taylor, Ryan Fitzpatrick. There's no way they should be giving up this amount of points to those teams. Also, Joe Philbin, 4-8 in the last 12 games, doesn't really spell good news for him. And finally, Ryan Tannehill, 57% completion percentage. He was coming off a career high, 66.4 completion percentage last year. So that part has fallen off in his game. Just 4 games of sample size, but these are ugly numbers to start the season and not a good look.
You really, really do got to question when the team doesn't respond and they don't come out and they don't respond to the coaching that Joe Philbin and his staff is really putting together, and they come out as flat as they do. The team has a lot of issues. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting weekend, Davey. James Walker, thanks for joining us. A Dolphins insider for ESPN.com.
No problem. Always fun.
Now it's time for your favorite segment, Rank It Up. Coming in at number 3, Dolphins quarterback Ryan Tannehill obliges to a pretty weird request over in London.
Imitate the sound of your team animal.
Terrifying it is.
Yep, you heard it. The Tanny Man just imitated a dolphin. That happened Friday at a press conference in London with reporters that aren't exactly used to interviewing football players, American football players anyway. Tannehill, though, he probably did plenty of squeaking when that O-line was letting him get sacked 3 times and hit all over the field, right? Too soon? Coming in at number 2, the most anticlimactic goal horn I've ever heard. So this is the goal horn for the New York Islanders' new home at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Did you hear that thing? Every time I hear it, I instinctively yell, "Punch buggy!" Reports have already come out that the Islanders have abandoned the horn. No shocker there. It does sound like a 95 hatchback. And now for your number 1 spot. Media Day was this past Monday, and Spurs coach Greg Popovich wasted no time doing what he does best, the TV reporters, annoying the crap out of them.
Coach, you've spoken a few times this summer about losing the camaraderie with several new faces coming in. What can you do in camp to try and speed up the process?
I don't remember saying that. I think you made that up.
Classic Pop, playing dumb in every question. As you can see at the end of the interview, the 5-time champ put his arm around NBA TV's Jared Greenberg to let him know he was just messing around. I don't know, man. Greenberg doesn't look like he liked the joke, though. Look at him. He really didn't take it well. Afterwards, you know, you figure Pop is apologizing. You know, we've all been in the situation on this side as a reporter that, you know, you kind of interview somebody and it doesn't go as well. But he wasn't happy. He's apologized and everything, but yeah, it didn't go too well. Anyways, thanks for joining us here on Sports Final, and thanks for staying up late with us tonight on In Depth. We look at Graham Bensinger's interview with NFL legend and social activist Jim Brown.